Hello grade 7. In this video, we'll learn about Pythagoras theorem. But before delving in Pythagoras theorem, we will discuss some equation skills. So first, what's the equation? Equation is the equality of two sides. If we have x minus 2 equal 5, this is the equation. Why? Because we have two sides. The first side is x minus 2, the second side is 5. And between them is an equal sign. This we call it an equation. And if we want to solve for x, that means we want to get x alone or separately in one side. So to get x separately here, we want to get rid of 2 by sending it to the other side. When sending a variable to the other side, we send it with the opposite operation. So the operation with 2 is subtraction, so we send it by the others to the other side by submission. So x equal 5 plus 2 equals 7. Okay? And if we have x plus 2 equal 5, we want to solve for x. Solve for x means get x alone in one side. So x equal send 2 to the other side. The operation here is submission, so we send 2 to the other side by subtraction. 5 minus 2 equals 3. What if we have x square equal 2? We want to get x alone. X alone means 1x with power 1. 1x with power 1. So to get x to the power 1, simply add the square root to the two sides. Why? Because it is the equation. When you make something to one side, you make the same thing to the other side. So the square root of x squared equals square root of 2. The power of 2 cancel the square root, so x equal root 2. Okay. If we have x squared equal a plus b, we want to solve for x. Again, would take the square root for the two sides. Then square root of x squared equal square root of a plus b. Part 2 cancels the square root. X equal square root of a plus b. The last one, and it's the most important one. A equal x squared minus x squared plus b squared equal a squared. We want to solve for x. How we can solve for x? How we can solve with x? Solve for x means get 1x power 1. But we have two problems. The first problem was that we have x squared, and the side of x squared we have plus b squared. So first get rid of b squared, send it to the other side. The operation here is plus, to send it to the other side by subtraction. So a squared minus b squared equal x squared. Now we have x squared alone in one side. How to get x from x squared? Simply by taking the square roots. So a squared minus b squared under the root equal x. Now we can get forward to our lesson, which is the Pythagoras theorem. What's the Pythagoras theorem? Pythagoras theorem says that if you have a right-angled triangle, so the Pythagoras theorem is only for the right-angled triangles, and this side is, we call it A, this side we call it B, this side we call it C. A is perpendicular to B. This sign is called perpendicular. And perpendicular means the angle between the two sides is equal 80. Measure of the angle equal 90. Sorry, equal 90, not 80. Equal 90. Pythagoras says that the square of the hypotenuse. What is the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right angle. So the side is opposite to the right angle here is C. The square of the hypotenuse, so C square, equal the summation of squares of two other sides. Summation of squares of two other sides. Two other sides is A and B. Square of them A square plus B square. Okay? We make some calculations. In real world, when we draw any triangle, we get the length C or length C square. When you measure by your ruler, you measure the length C. So how can you get C from C square? Simply by solving the equation for C. Solving the equation for C means to get C, 1C to the power 1. We have 1C, but 1C square. To get rid of the square, take the square root of the two sides. Then square root of C square. Let's make it in a separate line. Square root of C square equal, and because of this equation we take the square root to the other side. Square cancel square root, so C equal So what this line mean? This line means the length of the hypotenuse equal the square root of the summation of the squares of the two other sides. What are the two other sides? Simply the two other sides is the sides that making the right angle. The two other sides is the side that making the right angle, or including the 90 degree. Okay? Let's take some challenge. Let's solve for A. Let's solve for A. Solve for A means get A alone in one side, and we want 1A to the power 1. So first we have A square plus B square. So we want to get rid of this B square by sending it to the other side. Let's write it. C square equal A square plus B square. So we want to send B square to the other side by the opposite operation. What is the operation of B square? It is here. It is plus. Let's make it subtraction. When we send one variable to the other side, we send it with the opposite operation. So C square minus P square equal A square. Now we have A square on one side alone. To get A from A square, taking the square roots of the two other sides. The square roots of C square minus P square equal A squared under the root. The square root cancel the power 2, so A equal C square minus B square. And we have two notes here. What's two notes? If you looked closely to C, it is the result of the square root of summation of two squares. That means C the biggest side or the one or the smallest side. How can you rank it? It is obvious from the drawing that C is the biggest one. C, which we call it the hypotenuse, it is the biggest side. And the sign of the biggest side, how can you differentiate it very quickly? Simply, the biggest side is opposite to the right angle triangle. So C is the biggest side. And when we get the biggest side, we add the squares to the other sides under the root. Simply get big, put add, put plus. Okay? Now, the second part here. A is small, one of the smalls, or the biggest side? This is one of the smalls. This is one of the smalls. And if you look to this question, to this equation, you will get this C, which is the biggest one, square minus the other small square. So for easy memorization, when you get the hypotenuse, which is the biggest side in the right angle triangle, add the squares of two other sides under the root. Okay? And if you want to get one of the small sides, subtract the biggest square minus the other small side square under the root. Okay? It's very simple now. Okay, let's move to the questions. If you have a right angle triangle, and this side is called 3 centimeter, this side is 4 centimeter, this side is called C. Ask yourself, C the biggest side or the smallest side? Let's check. If it is opposite to the right angle, it is the biggest side. C is opposite to the biggest side, so it is the biggest one. How we can get the biggest one? By add under the square root the squares of other sides. 4 square is 16, 3 square is 9, root of 25 is 5. And that's it. Another one. We have a triangle. Right angle triangle. Okay? This side is 5 centimeter. This side is 12 centimeter. This side we call it C. Okay? How we can get C? C, if it opposite to the right angle, it's the biggest side. If it is one of the sides including the right angle, it is one of the smalls. So it is opposite to the right angle, so it is the biggest one. How we can get the biggest one? C equal the square root of the sum of the squares of two other sides. Twelve square is 144. I'll give you a list of squares and square roots at the end of the video. You can download it in this from the description. Okay? Plus 5 squares, 25. 145 plus 200 plus 25 is 169. The square root is 169 is 13 centimeter, and here is we have centimeter. Another one. Now I'll give you the biggest one, and I'll order you and require from you to get this one of the smalls. We have 12 centimeter and 15 centimeter A. Ask yourself, is A is opposite to the right angle triangle? No. So it is one of the smalls. How we can get the small? By making the square root of the subtraction of the biggest square minus the other side square. equal 15 square 225 minus 12 square is 144. You will get this result will be square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9 centimeter. Okay, another one. We have a right angle triangle B, and this is 6 centimeter, 10 centimeter. How we can calculate B? Ask yourself, is B is opposite to the right angle triangle? No, the opposite side of the right angle triangle is 10. So B is one of the smalls. Is one of the small. How we can get the small? By getting the square root of the subtraction of the biggest square minus the other small square. 10 square is 100. 6 square is 36. 100 minus 36, it is 64. So we have square root of 64. It will be 8 centimeter. Now, getting back to the first slide. Again, when you want to get the biggest side, Pythagoras said that the biggest side is equal to the square root of the summation. That means summation of the squares of two other sides. And thus, if you want to get the small, one of the smalls, get the square root of the subtraction of the biggest one square minus the other small square. Okay? This is simply to memorize. Now, getting examples. I'll give you the example. Pause the video, solve yourself, and replay, check your answer. Okay? This triangle, we have a right angle triangle. A right angle triangle. This side is 13 inch. This side is 5 inch. This side is B. Calculate B. Pause the video, solve, and play, check your answer. Ready? B equal. Where is the biggest side? It is 13. So 13 is known. Which is unknown? Unknown is B, one of the smalls. Square root of the subtraction of the biggest square minus the other small square equal 13 square is 169 minus 5 square 25. 169 minus 25 is 144. Square root of 144 is 12, and the unit is inch. Let's take another one. Let's take another one. It's very easy. centimeter, 16 centimeter. C. How can you get C? Okay, I assume you solved and you're checking your answer now. C is the biggest one. Why? Because it is opposite to the right angle triangle. So how we can get the biggest one? By getting the square root of the summation of two small square. So 16 square plus 12 square. 16 square is 256. 12 square is 144. 256 plus 144 is 400. 400 square root of 400 is 20 centimeter. Now I'll give you a list of square and square roots to memorize. You can check and make your calculations at your home. After that you can memorize it. Okay, let's move. First, the squares. 1 square equal 1, 1 times 1. 2 square equal 4, 2 times 2, 4. 3 square, 3 times 3, 9. 4 square equals 16. 5 square equal 25. 6 square, 36. 8 square, 64. 9 square, 9 square, 9 square is equal 91. 10 square is equal 100. 12 square is equal 144. 13 square 169. 15 square 225. 16 square 256. 17 square 289. 20 square is 400. Okay, now what if I told you the square root of 289? This 17. This is the inverse. Okay, the square root of 169, this 13. The square root of 225 is 15, and so on. The square root of 144 is 12. It's enough for now. I will give you the file in the description. You can download it and memorize and study it whenever you want. It's up to you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.